Hey everybody, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, Kristina. This is where we read books, talk about books, nothing special going on here, no theme music, none of this stuff going on. So I hope you hit the like and subscribe and let me know I'm doing a good job here. Just reading books, talking books, doing the best I can. Trying really hard here. I'm not getting too far. If you could hit the thumbs up, most appreciative. Although the analytics say by this point you've already gone on to your next video. So I hope you're still here for this book. It is book 54 in my favorite series. My favorite author. Abandoned in Death. As you all know, I'm an audiobook fan. I love my audiobooks. I love Susan Erickson. I can listen to her for hours. And we also have an interesting cover this time. A little bit of a butterfly, and it says Bad Mommy on it. And my favorite, while parts of this book is disturbing and some of it bothers me, but I know that the upcoming books are worse in their topic, but they're topics that need to be addressed. So anyways, my favorite parts of this book are the character progression parts, the catching up with characters we haven't seen in a while. So those are my favorite parts of this book. So the first chapter, we start off with, and you know, I'm a physical book person. I've been doing a lot of research lately to do other books and other themes, and they're all ebooks. Like, what the F? I want a physical book! So anyways, let me let her bing herself out. She's binged. Okay. So, we start the first chapter with a mother who is desperate. She's lost everything. She feels like she has nothing to live for, and she wants to kill herself and her child. And I think it's wrong that she wants to kill herself and take herself and her child to heaven together. I would prefer she would give the child up for adoption and let the child have a life and not subject the child to death. I, being a childless person who tried many, many times very unsuccessfully, I won't go into all my miscarriages and stuff like that, but I'm just saying that I would love to have a child. I would do just about anything. So to have somebody just willingly subject themselves, kill themselves and a child is just wrong. There's so many mass shootings out there where the shooter wants to commit suicide and they feel judged that they can go out and take 20 other people with them, and I just think that's wrong. I did this whole podcast for Star Trek Next Generation, Half-Life. Please check that out. I really rant about the suicide thing, especially the fact that they had David Ogdenstern as the guest star, and he was from MASH, and the theme song from MASH was Suicide is Painless. So you'll have to check that out if you're interested. But I just don't, I feel that it's wrong that she took the child with her to, what is she doing? Smokey! Smoke! She's playing with the extension cord. She knows she's not supposed to play with these things. So anyways, so this mother decides that this is the end of her life, and she's got no hope, and she's in a car and she's going to drive into a river, and the two of them are going to drown. But things don't go that way. At least we're not told exactly what happens. But that's the premise of the first chapter. Then we get the book is told from the point of view of a couple of people. Mary Kay Corvino. Hold on a second. She's really biting that cord. I'm sorry about that. So the book is told from a couple different points of view. We have the mother's point of view who's trying to commit suicide. And then we have the point of view of one of the hostages, Mary Kay Corvino. Since it's the first chapter, I guess I can give that up. So here is my little child. So she's one of the hostages, and she's been there a few days, and she's really scared. So we get a chapter by her. Then we have and another thing it's doing is it's going back and forth between the time frame of when the actual suicide occurred or attempted suicide occurred and moving forward, and then we have today in Eve Dallas's world today. So we have those two time frames going on, and then we have the point of view of the killer, the mother, Eve. I think that's just the 3 or 4. So Eve is a New York lieutenant in the New York City Police and Security Department. Rourke is her husband. Peabody is her partner. Peabody's cohab is McNabb, and he is in electronic division. We don't see too much of him. Feeney is his boss. Amira is the department shrink. Whitney is her boss. And Nadine is her best friend, also a TV reporter who has a new intern, Quilla. And Feeney also has a new intern, Jamie Lindstrom. We've met him in previous books. We're going to be catching up with him. And Mavis and Bella. Mavis is another one of Eve's best friends. And Mavis is kind of the one that started it all. And her husband, Leonardo, and their daughter, Bella, with another one on the way, and the house. I love all the updates of the house. And we get something huge. We have been wishing for Eve to do this, besides the visitorship. That's another big, huge thing that we've been wishing for a while. But Eve does something else in this book that we're just sitting there going, yes, yes, finally, she's doing something. So, we get the notification that there's been a killing. Eve goes to the job scene. So Peabody and her check over the job scene. Review the case. Blah 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 blah. And then they go to make notifications. And I always like it. I don't know why, but I always like it. And Eve hates it, and we know Eve hates it. When they go to notify the next of kin, and the guy's like, "Oh no, just say it. Just say it fast. I've seen the vid. I've seen this. I've seen that. I know who you are. Just say it." And they obviously know that Peabody and Eve are coming to notify them that someone's dead. But then Eve tries to do one of those sayings again, and we don't know if she's getting it wrong on purpose or if she's getting it, wrong because she's getting it wrong. But the bad mommy is written on the victim when they're found. So Eve says, "Didn't octopus have a mommy deal? Octopus, I don't think they screwed it with their mothers. Do they know their mothers? How do they know?" Peabody wondered. "They all have weird heads and tentacles." "No, the guy with the complex and the mother banging and the eyes. Oedipus, I think Oedipus. Octopus, Oedipus, all creepy. So maybe the perp wants to bang his mom, but his mom isn't all about that, so he creates a substitute." It's Eve. So they interview coworkers. They go to see Morris. They're going to go see Harvo. She's our queen and hair of fiber. Morris is the medical examiner. Dick Berensky is our lab tech. So we have all these new people. And this is one of the few books, I guess this is a big spoiler, where the murder is a constant throughout the book. Usually, well, we're getting some chapters from his point of view. But, I've said this, sometimes there's murder books where the murderer comes in, it's like a high and by type. This is who this person is, and then they leave and you don't see them again. And then there's the murderer that hangs out and checks in almost every other page. This is the book where he checks in every other page. Well, not every other, but every couple. So then the victims are all found wearing vintage clothing. So, and Eve decides to tap Nadine for help to do research because Nadine has a research department. And she's Jenkinson, her senior detective, brushed a crumb from his atomic yellow tie. Eve found herself surprised one of the grinning green frogs hopping over it hadn't flicked out a tongue to capture it first. Just a real quick break, boss. They're double fudge. Break's over. Nadine, I don't have time for you. Peabody, my office. Give me 1 minute and don't close the door in my face. 1 minute and I'm gone, if that's what you want. Either way, you get the brownie I saved for you in my purse. The scent of chocolate could have weakened the strongest spine, but the friendship weighed on the scale. The friendship existed because Nadine would carry a purse like a dog pursues a rabbit. She cared about the truth. Let's see the brownie. Nadine reached into a stop sign red bag the size of Brooklyn and took out a little pink bakery box. Eve opened it, nodded at the brownie within, then set it on her desk. 1 minute, clock's ticking. Mavis, I sat on that same playground bench with you at the playground after Mavis gave me a tour of that big, rambling, strange, and wonderful house she and Leonardo Bella and the new one when it gets here are making into a home, where Peabody and McNabb are making theirs. He left that woman's body on the bench where Bella's played and will play. So she asked Nadine to research the tattoo. And then she talks with Mavis, and I like to catch up with my characters. I like to catch up. Let's see. She tells her about the case, and yeah, that's it. There's nothing special. Okay, so she catches up with Mavis on the case. Then we go to talk to Morris, and we get some more information from the mother's point of view. She, I don't want to spoil too much, but she survived the drowning and was found on the side of the road, alone. She's rescued. Then Eve talks to the person in charge of the missing person case for the deceased, because she was missing several days before she was deceased, so she checks up with missing cases. Then she's playing with Yancey to see if he can do a potential sketch of what the victim might look like at 80. So then we have Eve remembers her childhood with Richard, Troy, and Sheila, and then she goes into EDD. She turned toward what she knew would be brown baggy comm of Feeney's office, found it empty. Hey, Dallas! She looked around and nearly didn't recognize him. The moment's blankness might have been caused by the blinding purple baggies and the exploding aura of Barilla's on his shirt. He'd let his hair grow long enough so he could pull it back into a stubby tail and had the streaked the blonde with spring green grass. Jamie Lindstrom, Feeney's godson, and the kid, well, college kid now, who had the distinction of being the only person she knew who'd ever almost gotten through Rourke's home security. Is it something in the air up here, she wondered, that turns colors nuclear? Energy boost. Sure, what are you doing here? Summer intern. Just grunt work, but it's a start. He looked around EDD as if he entered paradise. I rotate. 2 days a week here, 3 with Rock. Next week, reverse it. Rock, you're interning with Rock. Low rung, but it's Ice Supreme. Best of both worlds. She eyed him, getting a leg up in both so you can straddle him. She had to admire the strategy. Smart. Gotta explore to know where to plant the flag. Check me. So if you're looking for the cap, he and McNabb are in the field. You got something I can? Calendar, she said, naming another detective. She's buried right now. Jamie shifted his weight subtly to block Eve. I just finished with the captain laid on me, so I can take what you've got. And she gives him the chore to do, or what she needs done. And he ends up doing it quite successfully, but you don't get that information for a few minutes. And I can't do these books without sharing them with you. Other reviews might be shorter, other reviews might be longer. I would sit here if I had the computer capability, and I do not, because I did a video yesterday and it ran a little long, and I'm not kidding you. I'm seriously honest with you. It took over 7 hours to upload. It's not because of my internet speed, or it could be part of my internet speed, but it's because my computer is a turtle, and that's how fast it walks. And just like my YouTube channel is growing like a turtle, I probably have the fewest subscribers ever. I know these people that get a channel and they have 100 subscribers in a week. I've been doing this a year. I could use some help. I need to be better creatively. I don't know how to be better creatively. So then we do some more missing searchings. We find more potential victims. So they're talking about the case. What did I want? Okay, that ups my worry level. McNabb and I will stick close. Stick close, but keep the worry level low. She doesn't fit. It's just friends are a pain in the ass more than half the time. Aw, Peabody beamed a smile. That's down from what you probably thought a couple of years ago. That wouldn't have been more like 80%, not 50. I said more than half. 80's more than 50. Contact Hobbs Building Superior, and they do more. So they do some more questionings and more investigating. And I like the updates on the house. I really, really do. By the time they left, she had a vague headache, but she knew where the killer had parked his most likely car, van, AT, that may be black or just dark. Closer to the building than I thought, Eve decided as they stopped at the Ramirez approximating. The timing, they go through the case. So it's just case. She drove to Mavis's strange new house and found relief when the gate stayed securely closed. I got it, nearly bouncing in her seat. Peabody took out her link, tapped in a code. We're going to have your ride tag for entry when security's complete, she said, as the gate slowly opened. Can't do Rocks because he's got a zillion rides. The first thing Eve noticed was the grounds that had been neglected, overgrown into a tangle of God knew what, had been cleared. On either side of the drive, sprouts poked up through what looked like piles of straw. Landscapers seeded the lawn after they cleared out the overgrowth. Had to take some trees, just dead, but they're going to plant others and more, and have a veg garden out back. Leonardo bought a lawn tractor. A lawn tractor! Eve visited a strange image of the fashion designer with his shining braids and one of his flowing outfits plowing the fields. She stopped the car. Bella ran out the front door. The kid wore pink overalls, a flowered t-shirt, little pink work boots, and a hard hat. Pink, of course. Peabody. She's getting closer. Peabody popped out, snatched Bella up in a hug, and tossed. Mavis bounced out, and Eve hoped she'd keep her hair that shade of purple for a while, just in case. She wore a snug t-shirt that said number 2. And they go through the house, and they do several pages. Eve stays a little bit in the house, and I love it that they stayed so long in the house. And so she started to beg off. She wanted to get home, get back to work, but she caught Rourke's eye. Sure, we'll have a class before we take off, everything echoes. Sometimes Mavis wanders around singing. It's wonderful. I can already see us here. I already see it. Eve slowed her pace so she fell well behind Leonardo and McNabb. I really can't stay long. There's another missing woman, and he has her. We won't. They need this. Need a moment with you here. She did her best to shift gears. Can you already see it? Actually, I can. It's going to be a colorful, creative, and surprisingly functional home. And safe. Safe as our home. Trust me on that. I do. And they have a little toast. And I just love all the house talk. And then we do a couple of chapters of the before, and then the victim, and Eve has a moment back at the house. She scanned his office as if an idea would jump out and dance. All saw equal attractive, efficient, stylish, and important, and she realized she'd never really looked at his face from an angle. She never really actually sat on this sofa. He had shelves with stuff on them, actually arranged, she noted, the photograph he'd asked for, and she'd hunted up, one of her in the academy days. He had the medal the NYPSD has bestowed on him, their highest civilian honor. Some books, actual books, because he liked actual books. Just a second. I want to do that more. Okay. I lost my place. His shelves, he had shelves with stuff on them, artfully arranged. She noted the photograph he'd asked her for, and she'd hunted up, one of her in her academy days. He had the medal the NYPSD had bestowed on him, their highest civilian honor. Some books, actual books, because he actually liked books, held up by a pair of what she thought were dragons. And among the other bits and pieces, some of which looked old, some of which were likely priceless, the photo of his mother holding him when he'd been an infant. The child she'd never had the chance to raise. Personal, she thought, all of it. Things he kept at home rather than in his big fancy office in Midtown. Looked like she had to think of something personal. She scanned the office again. It sure as hell didn't strike her he needed anything else in here. What's this wall color? She wondered out loud. He glanced up. Some sort of sage, I recall. Like what Peabody going to burn in the playground once we tossed this asshole in a cage? I couldn't say. What he could do was switch the search to auto. Do you ever sit on this couch? I never sit on this couch. He rose, walked over. We're sitting on it now. Your office is about 3 times the size of my office at Central. Easily. But it's smaller than mine here. Why is that? Because the original purpose of yours was to replicate your apartment, so you'd give it up and live with me. Yes. Now she needs to give up her real office and get it redone and get a new visitor's chair. She needs a new visitor's chair. My pet peeve. And second, I don't need the room to gather up team of cops, feed them, brief them as you often do here, or need the room so we can sit for a meal together. You put in a lot of time over there with teams of cops and without expert consultant civilian. I do. I don't much spend much in here consulting or whatever. You don't. Do you want me to? I would very much appreciate no. And they have some romantic times. And then we get a hint of a future book, and I know it's coming. So they're talking about Mavis's house, and she says, I guess we're going to see the Irish next month, right? He looked up, met her eyes. I'd like to. Fine with me, she sat and started on the bacon. That quick trip to catch Kobe doesn't really count. Where else? He rubbed a hand on her thigh. Where would you like to go? You've got something in mind. You always have something in mind. I thought you might enjoy Greece, play tourist among the ancient sites. Then there's a villa on Corfu, sun-watched beaches, olive groves, vineyards, and they go through more vacation. But that's a hint of what's coming up in a future book. And she gets some more background on the characters, and I think, there's another big thing. It's a character thing. I'm gonna do too. And Eve does something in this book she's never done before, ever. And we're all sitting there going, yes, yes, yes. So wait, I think this is Peabody's moment. Let me just look. I'm so steamed. Shake it off. Eve shoved the handle down, heft the bag up. It had weight. To carry it down the stairs. He's nothing. I did admire your remark about not enough cage room to arrest complete dicks. It just popped right out. The way he demeaned her. Well, all of us. Women in general. And this has to do with what Eve does later on. They were interviewing this guy who was supposed to be a love interest for Mary Kate, the lady that's being captive. And he's a complete, absolute idiot. He's very, very, very into himself. He doesn't care about Mary Kate at all, not 1 ounce. She was just somebody he used for his purposes, and that was it. Mary Kate had a different view from all the friends and family they've interviewed. She viewed the relationship differently, and it was wrong. He just ran over her like a freight train. It was just horrible what he did to her. So she's talking to Rock. Now this is in 2 parts, and this is the yes moment. Well, not this one, but the next one. So she's with Rock, and she says to him, hey, I've got to head out to the field to interview a suspect in about an hour. Some stuff to clean up here first. Interested in spending time watching my cop grill a suspect? Always. I'm not grilling him yet, probably. In any case, I'll meet you in the garage in an hour. Good, great. And I'm sort of thinking about talking to you about a real estate deal. His eyebrows shot up. Now I'm fascinated. What sort of deal? We'll talk about it, and thanks for the list. Okay. So they go to the suspect, they talk him, they rule him out. And so they're walking down, they leave the suspect's house, and she's like, the car's that way, and Rock guides her this way, and he guides her to a pizza joint. And you know Eve with pizza. Eve could live on pizza. And I haven't had, if anybody out there has any compassion, I have a real New York pizza, a real New York potato salad, a real Kaiser roll, a BEC, on a Kaiser, bacon, egg, and cheese, on a Kaiser, a real Kaiser, a New York Kaiser. Leaf cookies. Those of you up north will know what I'm talking about. Leaf cookies. And if anybody out there knows the recipe to the King Cullen maple walnut cake, give. Those are my requests. Oh, real New York Chinese food too. That would be good. They don't make it anywhere else. Like New York. New York food is just it's just the best. There is no better. There is no. So they're having a pizza, and so as the waitress hurried away, Rock leaned over, took both Eve's hands. Now tell me as I remain fascinated about this real estate deal. She laughed. Just a wild hair. That includes three words I'm very fond of: real estate and deal. Okay, well, there's this building. She rattled off the address. You don't already own it, I checked. All right then, should I? Commercial street level, slick bar and Tony looking salon. Apartments above, 8 units a level, 6 levels. Square footage, exterior material, original build date, and dates of major rehabs. Well, geez, if you're going to have all kinds of questions, there are countless more, but I can find answers. The waitress came back with the water, the wine glasses, poured both. Brick, Eve said. Brick, and it looked pre-urban to me. Crappy security on the apartment entry door. Crap elevator, single. Decent soundproofing. That's all I've got. I'll get the rest after you tell me why this property interests you. She sat back, gestured with the wine. I thought about how if you bought it, you could kick out the fuckhead who owns the bar and lives above it. Could I? Amused, Rock gestured back at her. Has he committed a crime? If being a fuckhead was a crime, I'd have to lock up half of New York and occasionally arrest myself. He's Covino's ex-boyfriend, except he only qualified on the boyfriend scale in her mind. He's a swarmy, in the word womanizing, self-important fuckhead. Ah, you said she planned a trip and the boyfriend, such as he was, canceled on the night she was taken. This would be that fuckhead? The very same. I really wanted to look at him, but he's covered as he was working in the bar till 2. Plus, he's too busy looking for the next quick bang to bother with Covino. He doesn't care enough about anybody but himself to go to all this trouble. Not a suspect. No, I brought her suitcase into evidence. She'd packed all these girly beach clothes and sexy stuff, a bottle of sparkling wine, candles. It makes you sad. So, Rock's gonna buy the building. We'll get notice in the next book. But there's one more. Yeah, I shouldn't spoil it for you if you haven't read the book, but the actually I love it so much. Jamie and Quilla and Nadine come through again. Well, yeah, it is a key piece of the book. Come through with a key piece of evidence, and Quilla tries to flirt with Jamie, but Jamie's like, he's got EDD and stuff on his mind, and Quilla's looking at Jamie, and he's an older guy, and he's cute, and she's just lost it. But she's got her life ahead of her too as Nadine's assistant. Nadine first, right? Really like your books. The vid topped it out, Jamie gushed. Thanks, Quilla. This is Jamie Lindstrom, Captain Feeney's godson. Hey, Jamie said in response. The hair's chill. Quilla reached up, skimmed fingers through the oak brown with its candy pink bangs and crown. Thanks. Nadine's intern. Yeah, also chill. I'm interning up in EDD. About that coffee. So, to check out who the we also run into Louise and Charles. We haven't seen them in a while. Louise is a doctor, and she's helped Eve on a few cases, and Eve helped her out. And Charles is her husband, who was a former licensed companion. Now he's a sex therapist, and they're married, and they've got a brand new house, too. But so please check it out. We're on our way to the next book, and in the next couple of days, I am dying to open this stupid thing. This holds random in depth, and I've been sitting here holding it, not unboxed, for almost 2 weeks now. I want to open this thing. We'll get to it. So please check it out. Please hit the like and subscribe. Abandoned in Death. Find out what happened with the lady and her son, and what caused him to crack, and who he is, who he's been standing in front of Eve through the whole book. So please check it out. Thank you.